Council at a later call meeting. For those of you that don't know, today was the Great American Teach-In, and most of the members, I think all of the members, participated this morning. We had a great day at Hillsborough County Schools. Yeah, why don't we do that? Councilman Maniscalco, would you like to talk about your...
Sure. I went to Williams Middle Magnet School with the 6th, 7th, and 8th graders, spoke in the gym. Wonderful group of students. So I'm really glad that we got to take part in this because it's been quite a few years because council meetings are always on that Thursday morning. So thank you to Council Member Henderson for bringing this up, I believe, earlier this year and giving us this opportunity.
Okay. Yeah. Councilwoman Hurtak?
I started out with 4th graders at Potter Elementary, and then I went to Williams Middle Magnet as well, and I talked to 6th, 7th, and 8th graders, and whew, man, that's a lot of energy and a lot of different, you think you remember. I taught for 10 years, so you think you can get back on the bike, but man, I was a little rusty, have to admit, because now I'm used to trying to persuade and talk to adults, so it's a whole different world.
Adults, really? Stephanie, are you in the room?
No, it was a lot of fun, though. I'm really glad that we got the chance to do it, and I hope we make it an annual event.
Councilwoman Young?
I was at Potter Elementary this morning, speaking to some 3rd graders, which was very, very fun. They had a lot of really great questions, down to how old I am and am I married. So I don't know. They asked
no personal boundaries.
None whatsoever. But it was really, really fun, and they asked some really great questions. So it was a lot of fun.
Good. Councilman Vieira?
I slept in elementary. No, I'm joking. I'm joking. No, I went to Twin Lakes Elementary. Principal Otis Kitchen, who's a wonderful person, invited me, and I had a great time. Probably like a third of the class was from Cuba or Venezuela and had come here in the last 5 years, so my Spanish came in handy. So,
cool. Councilman Carlson, did you participate?
Yeah, I went to Plant High and spoke to 10th and 11th graders Florida history class, which is
nice.
Super cool.
Very cool.
I started trying to tell them stories, and they knew the stories already, even like real, deep cut stories. The other thing is in the American government class, they were asking really tough questions, really, really tough questions. It was worse than this. They were really going for an hour.
Worse than this. Where's Stephanie?
But the couple things really clear. They don't like the idea of toilet to tap. They think we have too many potholes. And
so they don't want to drink poop water. Is that what you're telling me?
They like the raise, but they don't want us to raise taxes to support them.
Very good. Yeah, I joined Councilwoman Hurtak and Councilman Maniscalco at the middle school. I spoke to 8th graders, which I actually lost sleep last night thinking I'm walking into a classroom, and it wasn't just a classroom, it was a cafeteria filled with 8th graders, multiple classrooms, but it was very it pretty much replicates what you all said. The questions were amazing, and they had me on my toes the whole time. They had no sense of personal boundary. Asked how much we made. They asked me that too. Yeah, they did not ask if I was married. I keep telling them I'd keep my options open. But it was good. It was really, really, really good. It was great. I say I got a round of applause, but it was only because they asked me who my favorite president was, and I said Barack Obama, and that brought down the house. So it wasn't for me, but it was for that. But yeah, it was really good. So okay, very good. Well, thank you for Hillsborough County Schools for hosting us, and all the students, if you're listening, which I don't. Please God, I hope you're not. But thank you for being kind. Councilwoman Hurtak.
Well, should we put this into our calendar for next year?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I know we haven't started the meeting yet, but can I make a motion that that when the clerk's office is scheduling for 2026 to make sure that we start again at 11 on the Great American Teach-In Day?
I'll use chair's privilege to waive the rules and entertain the motion from Councilwoman Hurtak in a second. Actually, I heard Councilwoman Young first. Okay. Councilwoman Young, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it. Councilman Carlson.
Yeah, the only problem is as I was trying to leave at 10:30, they padlocked my car and wouldn't let me leave. So I had to beg them to let me leave because they wanted us to stay the whole day.
Yeah, they did want more time. You're right. Correct. Okay, very good. So let's get going. Invocation, Councilman Maniscalco.
Thank you very much. It's my pleasure today to welcome Pastor Carrie Nance, a native Floridian, traveled to West Virginia in 1992 to serve at the Calvary Baptist Church for 11 years before being called back to Tampa in 2003. When he started the Southside Baptist Church, where he is currently the pastor. Pastor Nance graduated from Trinity Baptist College with a Bachelor of Arts in Bible in 1992 and a Master's of Ministry in 2006. Along with joining the Tampa Police chaplaincy in 2004, Pastor Nance has served on the boards of Hope's Children's Home, Jehovah Jireh Ministries, Heartland Baptist Bible College, and Global Independent Baptist Ministries. Married for 32 years, Carrie and Amy, his wife, are blessed with 3 children who enjoy traveling, fishing, rooting for the Buccaneers, and flying around the Tampa skies with his single aircraft pilot license. Pastor Nance, come on up and please stand for the invocation.
Let's pray. Our Father, we want to just thank you for the opportunity to come into your presence. And Lord, we're humbled that you not only hear our prayer, but Lord, that you're a great God and you're able to answer those prayers. We thank you that you're a God that is so full of mercy and a God that is full of grace. We thank you, Lord, that you have been kind to the city of Tampa. And Lord, as we are nearing the end of hurricane season, we're reminded this year of how good you've been to us and how you've blessed us and you've protected the city. Lord, there have been times and storms where we have seen the devastation of those, but Lord, we thank you for what you've done for us. And Lord, you've blessed this city with so many things, and you've blessed the finances, and you've blessed, Lord, in just areas of tourism. And Lord, we just thank you for that. Lord, as we come to this council meeting, Lord, I thank you for our leaders that you have given to us. And Lord, we ask that you would put your wisdom and your hand of blessing upon their lives. I think of our mayor, I think of our Tampa police, our firefighters. Lord, those that, Lord, so frequently and daily put themselves on the line. Lord, we ask your blessing and your protection on their lives. Lord, as this city council, Lord, makes decisions and as they navigate through problems of Tampa, Lord, I'm sure that there are times when it is overbearing as they're trying to figure out the best way forward. And God, I do pray that you would help them to look to you and that they would find your wisdom and, Lord, your ability and your grace abundant in their life. Lord, would you bless them and would you meet their personal needs and their family needs and whatever needs that they may have. May you help them in those areas. Lord, would you guide the city of Tampa? Would you bless it? Would you protect it? And God, we thank you for your grace. We thank you for the person of Jesus Christ and the grace that's given to him through him. And Lord, it's in his name that we pray. Amen.
Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Those 8th graders had me sweating this morning. I took my jacket off in my office and forgot to wear it and bring it back in. Yeah, they had me going.
We're not judging you.
I was judging myself. I just realized I looked at myself in the camera. I go, what does something doesn't look right? I don't have my jacket on. That's why. Okay, so let's do a roll call, please.
Miranda, Maniscalco, Hurtak, here. Young, here. Vieira, here. Carlson, and Clendenin.
Here.
We have a fiscal quorum.
And Councilman Miranda is recovering at home and is missing this meeting. He should be back, I believe, in the office tomorrow. So we're looking forward to his arrival. Okay, so let's. We need a motion to adopt the minutes from our regular session on November 6, 2025, and the evening session held on November 13th, 2025, and our special call meeting on November 10th, 2025. I have a motion from Councilman Maniscalco, a second from Councilman Vieira. All those in favor say aye. 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 Opposed? The ayes have it. Moment to put on my jacket. Not done gracefully. Okay. Actually, I see the best supervisor of elections in the state of Florida sitting in our audience. Hi, Supervisor Craig Latimer. How you doing, my friend? Welcome to Tampa City Council. Best government offices in the city. Okay, so we need to approve the agenda. Yes, ma'am.
I am pulling items 24 and 28 for discussion to be heard together. They are both about parks, and we're going to be talking about funding.
We have a motion from Councilwoman Hurtak, a second from Councilman Carlson to pull 24 and 28 and heard together. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? The ayes have it. 24 and 28 will be heard together.
Additionally, hold on, let me put that in, 24 and 28. And then additionally, I am working with staff to get answers to item 36. So I asked that it be pulled for now to not vote on, so that if I don't get answers, we'll talk about it later. If I get answers and I'm okay, then we don't need to talk about it.
We have a motion from Councilwoman Hurtak to pull 36, a second from Councilman Carlson. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it. Thank you. Anything else from the consent agenda?
What do you all think about item number 39? It's an audit, but there's a lot of concern in the public about how much money we've been spending in the convention center and where it's going and what's happening, and this raises some questions about it.
Do you want to talk about it? Then pull it.
Motion to pull 39.
Second,
I
yeah.
have a motion from Councilman Carlson, a second from Councilman Maniscalco. All those in favor say aye. That's a
Aye.
pull item 39 for discussion. Okay, and that's it for the consent agenda. Let's go through staff reports. Okay, well, there's no administrative update. 68 is with 69. Do we need staff?
No.
No, nothing for 68 and 69. Thank you. 70 is required. It's a presentation only, by the way. So 70 is going to be a presentation only. 71, do we need staff for 71? Hearing none, no staff for 71. 72, staff will be present for 72. 73, I'm sorry, go ahead.
Sorry. 71, yes.
Yes, staff is needed. 70.
Yeah, 72 and 73, yes. Yes,
70.
Absolutely.
2, staff is here. 73, staff is going to be here. 74? Yes. 75?
Yes.
They are going to be present. They're already notified. 76, I guess
We can-
our staff is sitting over there in the chair.
Yeah, well, we can move the resolution after public
Yeah,
comment.
okay, so no staff, we'll just be
Yeah.
moving the resolution, okay. Okay, can anybody have anything for the written reports, or are they good for receiving and file? Okay, written reports through 79, so 77, 78, and 79.
Oh, yeah,
We have a
sorry.
motion to move 70, receive and file 77, 78, and 79 from Councilwoman Maniscalco, second from Councilwoman Hurtak?
Yes.
Councilwoman Hurtak, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed, the ayes
And
have it.
then, second.
We have a motion to continue item 80 to January 22nd, 2026 from Councilwoman Maniscalco, second from Councilwoman Hurtak. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed, the ayes have it unanimously. Thank you so
To
much.
approve the agenda.
Okay, we have a motion to approve the agenda from Councilwoman Hurtak, second from Councilman Maniscalco. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the ayes have it. Thank you. Oh, Councilwoman Hurtak, you want to say something?
No,
Oh,
just thinking, sorry.
Okay, that's all right. Let's see, okay, so, because we're starting late today and we have some consequential things on the agenda today, it has the potential of being a long day. We're gonna try to avoid that. I've asked the clerk to set the timer on all speakers, including councilpersons, so we can keep the agenda flowing and moving today. What's that? Good. Okay, good. So just FYI,
Did you say something about the incident last weekend?
about the what?
The incident last weekend in Ybor?
I have not, no.
I would just like to say real fast, there was a shooting in Ybor last week. Someone passed away, and I at least want to send condolences. In instances like this, the TPD does an analysis of it, and we don't have any inside information more than what the public sees. And so if the public has any information, or they think that we could help the families in some way, or you know, help the community, please contact us. We're working hard to try to make sure incidents don't happen across the city, but when they do, we want to make sure that we help the grieving families and community.
Yeah, thank you. And also just understand this is an open investigation, and so there's nothing for us to pontificate about right now. Okay. Okay, very good. Okay, also for the agenda, we are going to break, we're going to have a quick lunch, 1 to 1:30. So we'll be up at 1-ish if we can get out of here whenever it's the agenda. But we'll be back 30 minutes after we break, so it's going to be a really quick lunch, so again, so we can move this agenda through today. Let's move to commendations and presentations. Yeah. Uh-oh.
Probably premature.
Very good. Councilman Vieira, you are recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. It's a real pleasure to be here today. We have a 30-second video, if we may show it, on that'll kind of highlight what I'm going to briefly talk about here, if IT can do it.
Roll the film.
Thank you very much to our friends at IT. So here we have Miss Valerie Soberon here with her wife Priscilla, who's here. Good to see you, Priscilla. We have Logan, and I'm sorry, Kelsey. I'm sorry, Kelsey. Good to see y'all. So guys, I wanted to honor Valerie. Some of y'all may have met Valerie through her work with Vision Zero. It's 10 years ago this year that Valerie lost her daughter Lexi when she was crossing Bush Boulevard to go to Chamberlain High School. And obviously anytime somebody loses a loved one, especially a child, it's extremely traumatic, the kind of trauma that no one anticipates and no one can really bear. And, Valerie went through a lot of challenges, and she would eventually become an amazing safety advocate for Vision Zero, not just in the North Tampa area, but throughout all of our city of Tampa. I met Valerie when I first got elected about 9 years ago, and her passion is very, very evident. Prior to the time that Lexi was taken away from her and killed on Bush Boulevard, Valerie struggled a lot, as you saw over there, and she's very open about this. She had been arrested a number of times. Valerie was, in fact, a victim of human trafficking for labor and other purposes for 6 years. And as I'll talk about, she's recently had her record expunged in the 13th Judicial Circuit. A court that's available for victims of human trafficking to get their records expunged. And in 2018, thanks to Amendment 4, if any of us remember Amendment 4, she was able to get her voting rights restored, which is very, very important. So, after Lexi was taken from her, she continued with many, many different challenges, substance abuse and different things like that. But with the help of her family, her faith in God, she's a very, very dedicated Christian. She would eventually find the strength to become an activist and to really, really show truth to power in safety issues. One of the reasons that I really wanted to honor Valerie was because, she's gone from a woman who couldn't vote because she had all these convictions to being addicted to substances, to being a victim of human trafficking, to now, just recently, getting her master's in social work at the University of South Florida. Let's give her a round of applause. That's a big deal, guys. It is. She's an inspiration to people. We deal a lot here in Tampa City Council, thank God, with the issue of returning citizens. People who make mistakes and who, like Valerie, just want to be able to provide for their family and live a life of decency, and that's what she has been able to do. So for that and so much more, we wanted to honor her. Just honor her for her total life's journey. Again, Valerie's a very dedicated Christian. I always think about the story of St. Peter, who was told by Jesus, before the cock crows, you're going to deny me 3 times. And I always think about the 3rd time that he denied Jesus and the shame that Peter must have had, the utter shame that he must have had. But he came back to be the rock, Peter, the rock of the church. And Valerie, had some challenges in her life, but she's come back to be a rock for other people. So for that and so much more, City Council, we wanted to honor Valerie and her wonderful family for all of their work and their journey. So let's give them another round of applause. And so here you go, madam, to you, and if you'd like to speak, you may. You look lovely.
Thank you. I just want to say thank you. It's truly an honor that's kind of bittersweet that my daughter's not here to celebrate this with me, but due to her passing, it has brought me on this journey that I'm on now. And I know that she sees me, but I just want to say that I'll never stop being her voice. And through her passing has made me a better person. And I will strive to be that better person to help others that have struggled the way that I have. And I want to thank everybody. Thank you.
And I wanted to also note Gina Torres is here with the TPO, MPO, and a big advocate for different things in traffic safety. So there, and so council, if you'd like to say anything, you may.
Councilman Maniscalco.
Congratulations, well deserved, and thank you for being an inspiration. My wife's name is Valerie, and she's finishing up her master's, and let me tell you what, it's not easy. So knowing that you've done it and everything that you've been through, it just goes to show that you can just never give up, and you're living proof. And really, I feel inspired today, and what you've done in these last several years, are amazing. And this is just a little token of appreciation. So we certainly appreciate you. Congratulations. Thank you.
Councilwoman Hurtak.
Congratulations to you and your entire journey. And the wonderful thing about what you've chosen to do now is you can use everything that you've been through to help people moving forward, and just the empathy that you develop for folks as everything you've gone through is just helps prepare you for this journey ahead. And so cannot wait to hear. I know you're going to help so many families and so many people. And I know your family is and should be incredibly proud of you. And I'm so glad they could be here today. And congratulations.
Thank you.
Just really, really wonderful. And thank you, Councilman Vieira, for bringing this forward. What a great way to start the day.
Councilwoman Young.
Congratulations. You have an amazing story, and I find it amazing when people can tell their story and use that story to help other people. And so I'm just, congratulations to you. I am familiar with the Vision Zero program, and it is a wonderful program. We had it at our nonprofit and worked over a summer, and we work with our kids with Vision Zero. And so it's awesome. So congratulations to you.
Thank you.
Councilman Carlson.
Yeah, thank you for keeping alive the memory of your daughter. And because you're working with the city, that the mayor and city council have set Vision Zero as a priority. We wish we had more money to do more, but it is important that other mothers don't have to go through what you've gone through. Your personal journey also, as my colleague said, is very inspiring. And there are people all over the city of all income levels who have gone through what you've gone through and haven't been as successful. Ask any of the first responders, especially in South Tampa, the number one thing they respond to, and it's all tied to stress and depression and loneliness. But people abuse all different kinds of drugs, and the fact that you've been able to be so incredibly successful and you have this great future, I hope that we can help you in some way to inspire other people to go through the same thing. If you can help us figure out how to motivate more people to do what you've done, this will be a really incredible community going forward. Thank you.
I'd love that. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for coming forward and sharing your story. Thank you, Councilman Vieira, for bringing this to our attention. It is inspirational and moving, and my heart breaks for your loss as well. Thank you very much. Oh my goodness. Yeah, they changed their uniform. Okay, so now we have a presentation from the Planning Commission on redistricting.
Hello. Good morning. This is Yasser Gonzalez from the Planning Commission. This is the right orientation. It's my first time with the Elmo. So, perfect. Okay.
Well, you started with your name, so you're started
Yes,
off
indeed.
well.
Yes, indeed. Yasser Gonzalez, Planning Commission staff. We're here with Mr. Latimer, which you already recognize, and then we also here with Ms. Sornida, which is the Executive Director of the Planning Commission. So again, this morning I'm going to be talking about the redistricting for city council districts, the 4 single-member city council districts, ahead of the 2027 municipal election. So again, it's a short agenda. We're gonna go over the timeline. Why are we doing this? So we're gonna be going about why we redistrict, the rules and process, and as well as the alternatives. So we launched on October 15th. And again, our website's live, and we send out letters, we send out emails. We are, this year, like most of the year, we're always innovating. We're contacting high-frequency voters directly via email that are in those precincts that potentially may be moved. So again, we always do it different ways. So this is one of the innovations that we have this year. Come January and February, we're going to have open houses. We're going to go to the communities and invite people to come in and look at the maps, ask questions. And our first public hearing will be at that time. Then March will be our second and final public hearing. And again, this is all in the Planning Commission. Once the Planning Commission approves it, it gets proclaimed by the Supervisor of Election and staff. And then we come back to you sometime that summer to let you know what the new districts look like. Why? Why are we doing this? First of all, we have 20,000 new neighbors. That's the population of Punta Gorda and also Maitland, either or, moving in here. Again, with all the wonderful activity that comes with that. But also that means that we need to readjust the population because they have come, out of sync. It is required. We were here in 2022 for the 2023 election. We're here in 2026, 2025, 2026, for the 2027 election, and God willing, we'll be here in 2030 for the next election. So yes. Legal requirements, first of all, we only required to do 2 public hearings, and they're in the evenings. Nonetheless, we have traditionally held open houses, and we continue to that. There will be 4 in person and 2 virtual, and those days are being worked on. We have to move entire precincts, so we cannot split precincts, so now that's what happened. Our goal is complete, compact, and contiguous districts, and total population is what we do as the measure. The Planning Commission will see 4 options, such as the public as well. There will be a staff recommendation, and they will be either approving the staff recommendation or going with whatever option they like. Once that happens, Supervisor of Elections proclaims them, and then, again, we come back to you in the summer. Now, this is not typical. There are many ways of redistricting, but one of the features of the redistricting is that we do not, for sitting council members, we do not redistrict you out of your home district. So that's one thing we observe. We have a conservative approach. We have always done least number of precinct moves, and we'll show you that later. And again, trying to minimize potential negative impacts. Equal population. There's been some confusion is always about that sometimes because we report population and voters in some of our tables. Some people may assume, oh, you use voters, you use race and ethnicity. No, we, per the U.S. Constitution and Supreme Court cases, we use total population to redistrict. And no voting age population and no population by race. The range is the metric that we use to as a key measure. The range is we take the highest population minus the lowest population. That difference over the average will give us a range, which is now 8.36%. We'll talk about that more later. How was population estimated? We go to the census. We have the option of using our internal numbers from the Planning Commission, but for replicability, for transparency, we go to a source that's outside that people can download the data and do and check our work with pen and paper or Excel, however they like it. We allocate population though because the census boundaries and the precinct boundary do not match exactly. We have to do some allocation based on housing units, so that is something that we do have to bring some code in. So again, we need to reduce that range to 5%. It's 8.36% right now. We have a finite number of moves, and again, because of different legal limitations. As you know, you have pounded the payments in different democratic processes. We have various sizes for the precincts. We have one precinct that is 5 acres. That's over there near the USF. And we have another one that is 7,000 acres. That includes the Air Force Base. So we don't always have.
You can kill the timer now.
So we also have limitations with how we move. Council District 7, which, as you all know, but for the benefit of everybody else, includes the USF and New Tampa, is the most populous district. So they will be shedding precincts. They're losing precincts. Council District 5 is the least populous, relatively. So they're going to be gaining precincts. Again, 21 movable precincts. Notice right there that you have, they are all around the borders. There are all sorts of limitations which are spelled here. There's also something called temporal limitation, which is if we moved you 4 years ago, we're not going to move you again now. so things like that. With that's what happens. So here are finally all the alternatives in the current one. So as you can see, 8.36% is the range. Trying to reduce it to 5. All alternatives are reducing that to 5 or less than 5. Right now, we're going to quickly go over each alternative and, and the number of precincts being moved. So the first one is alternative 1. Precinct 151, 169, and 342 are potentially moving under this alternative. 151 moves from Council District 6 to 4. 169 moves from CD5 to CD6. And 342 moves from Council District 7 to Council District 5. This is the, this is right here, Precinct 342, Precinct 169, and Precinct 151. The reason why we put in this detail is, people are used to, I vote at this Baptist church, or I vote at this, lodge. So it's easier for them to see it once they see that. Alternative 2 is the simplest alternative. Only one move, that's it, is Precinct 345 from Council District 7, most populous, to Council District 5, the least populous. That's it. And Precinct 345 is right here up north. Now, this is also in another alternative, which is alternative 4. So alternative 2 and 4 share that one precinct. Alternative 3, we have 3 precincts here, 249, 250, and 320. 249 and 250 come in tandem because they represent the around Forest Hills, and they are oddly shaped. So, they gotta come and move together, and you will see that once you see the map. 320, so they're gonna move from Council District 7 to Council District 6. Precinct 320 is moving from Council District to Council District 5, and again, we'll show that in the map right here. So notice that here, 249 and 250. 250 is like a sliver that goes around, just borders, right there at the border of the city in the unincorporated county in that area. And then 249, so we need to bring them together. And then 320 is right here, it's going from 6 to 5. Now, there's been some discussion. We already heard some pushback in terms of always, this is a natural, option because they are at the border and you have Council District 7 being most populous, so it needs to shed precincts. Nonetheless, we do acknowledge that the neighborhood would prefer to stay where they are, and we'll see what we can do about that. But again, that was something for the Planning Commission to decide, of course. Lastly, the last is alternative 4. We have 3 precincts, 141, 207, 345. 141 moves from Council District 6 to District 4, 207, 5 to 6, and 345 is moving from 7 to 5. And these are again, 345 we already saw it in alternative 2, and then 207 over here is going to 5 to 6, and then 141 coming down to Council District 4. Once again, key dates. February, March is when we have our public hearings. These are usually in the evenings per the charter. So again, we faithfully follow the charter in the evenings. And again, they're going to present 4 options. We're going to present 4 options to the commissioners. They're going to mold them over, and then they can accept staff recommendation or take any of the options. We're going to be back with you to let you know once Mr. Latimer and all proclaim the adopted, to let you know what the new boundaries are. How can you help us? Yes, how can you help us? You can reach out to your stakeholders. Most of you are, again, because of your participation in democratic processes, have, at outreach, activities and databases that may be able to help us. So, like, again, forward the Planning Commission posts. Send out the link. We have had individual meetings with y'all, so you have some materials. Again, anything you can do to help us promote. Now, we do understand that not everybody, over 99% of the people are not going to be affected because the precinct is not moving, or we're only moving 2 or 3 precincts out of 143. So most of them are not going to be affected. So we understand that we have to, again, exercise some restraint, not try to, generate alarm. That will be all from me. Once again, Yasser Gonzalez, Manager, Economics, Demographics, and Research, Planning Commission, and here to answer any questions.
How do you get a QR code with the dinosaurs?
Yeah.
I believe we didn't get that. That was Chrome. Google Chrome. Yes, sir. Google Chrome.
Councilwoman Hurtak.
Very fun. So I just want to say thank you for this, and I know that our office is working with you on some of the neighborhood stuff, but I do want to ask that when you get those dates for those meetings, if you just pass them on to us so that we can pass them on. Thank you so much for this presentation. It was very clear and easy to understand.
Thank you.
Hey, for the first time, you're never going to outdo that one. That was a great presentation. Thank you very much. Appreciate
and we miss Mr. Miranda. He's always been, with his astute observations. Have always been a fixture in this presentation. So again, fast recovery for him.
Had Charlie been here, it would have lasted that much longer because he had been talking about stories about every one of those districts. So, yeah. Supervisor Latimer, would you like to say anything since you're here?
Thank you. Craig Latimer, Hillsborough County Supervisor of Election. We work hand in hand with the Planning Commission on this. My main job is to make sure they don't mess up our precincts, which they don't. This is actually a great process because it's done every 4 years. As Yasser said, it doesn't impact a lot of people. It just impacts a couple of precincts throughout the city. So if there's any questions of me, I'll be more than happy to respond.
I think we got at least I got a good briefing on it, so I'm pretty satisfied. Okay. But honored to have you in our chamber today.
It's a pleasure to be here and a pleasure to work with this group. Thank you.
Thank you.
It's a pleasure to work back with them because there's some technical aspects for the voting roll data, and they're very helpful and very patient with us once we came up with the same questions.
He's got good staff. Thank you very much. Okay, we'll let them clear the way, and we are ready for public comment. What's that? Yes, you are on. Curtain call.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman, members of council, members of the public. Martin Shelby, City Council Attorney. I will try to be brief, if I can, to talk about the rules of decorum for today's public comments. Now, by this point in time, you should have filled out a speaker public comment card, which is available outside, and you put them in the box. And 1 card per speaker. Cards are accepted again until the start of general public comment. Each person speaking a card will be recognized by name to approach and speak. A 3-minute time limit applies. Please print legibly because names that cannot be read cannot be called. To speak at a public hearing, if you are here to speak on an item on the agenda that is set for a public hearing and it's designated as a public hearing, you will have that opportunity when the time is heard later in the agenda. And now, no public comments will be taken during things set for staff reports. The time to speak about those items and items on the consent agenda is now during the general public comment. But if you wish to speak at a public comment, don't fill out the speaker card. Please use the sign-in sheet out front. If you need any help, just please ask staff. Now, speakers and members of the public are also reminded to please refrain from disruptive behavior, including making vulgar or threatening remarks or making or causing disruptive noises or sounds, or displaying signs or graphics. The chair will rule out of order any person who speaks without being recognized or attempts to address the City Council from outside the speaker area at the podium. Persons failing to comply with council rules may also be ruled out of order and, at the discretion of the chair, may be removed from the chambers for the remainder of today's meeting. Finally, City Council should refrain from engaging a speaker during public comment. And members of the public, please be aware that City Council does not take questions or have a dialogue with you during general public comment. It's your opportunity to express your position to the City Council. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Shelby. Okay, so we are going to start our day with Pamela Collier. Collier or Calker? I can't tell. Hi, Pamela.
Hi there. Excuse me. My name is Pamela Tayon Kolker. I live at 614 Superior Avenue on Davis Island. I'm here today for items 60 and 61.
That is a public hearing, I believe.
Yes, so I have to wait.
so
I'm fine with that. I just
Go ahead, Ms. Shelby. You want to let us learn of the restrictions?
Yes, if it's set for a public hearing, the time to speak to it is when that item is called up
Oh,
for
that's
public
fine.
comment.
They just called my name, so I.
Oh, you filled out a speaker card. That's okay. That's why we did that.
Oh, okay.
Okay, now again, if you're here to speak on public, items for public hearings, there's a speaker sign-in sheet at the podium outside. So for the clerk to have your name, just fill it out over there, but I understand what happened. Thank you very much.
Okay, how about Rich Garner? Is it the same thing?
Yes, I was going to speak on topic number 60.
Okay. Carol Ann Bennett. Followed by Stephanie Pointer.
Carol Ann Bennett, lifelong resident of Tampa. You all are my third city council. I have been speaking to city council since 2018 about raising these impact fees because, and that's what I'm here to talk about today, we should not be subsidizing profits. We should not be subsidizing people moving here. If you don't raise the fees, it doesn't mean that the things that become free. Santa Claus is not going to deliver paving and sidewalks, and ultimately we pay for it one way or another. The difference is the people who are creating the impact should be paying for their impact. It's right there in the name. And the argument about it increasing the cost of housing is a little smoke and mirrors. The definition of market rate housing is that housing that's sold at prevailing prices determined by the open market. They can change based on, they get no subsidies. I'm sorry, I lost my place. It's based on the property's features and the local economic conditions. The builders and developers are selling at market rate. They get out their little notebook and they say, this is how much the property costs, this is how much the building is going to cost, this is how much I can get for it, and this is my profit. They don't look and say, ooh, that profit's too big. I need to discount my price. I'm going to lower it and charge less. That's not what they do. They charge market rate. They charge what they can get. The price of housing is not going to go up by changing the fees, because if they could charge more, they would already be doing it. They're not discounting it because you all charge lower fees. So that's an inaccurate argument, and it should not be considered. We need these things to be funded, and we need the people who are creating the need to fund them. And I would like to see people put their money where their mouth is when it comes to funding things like the fires and the fire stations. They need to be funded. They should be funded. My family has been supporting the fire and police since the 50s, and we are happy to do so. But the people who are moving here and creating a new need for new fire and police, they need to do the same. So Channelside, their CRA needs to be contributing more money to the general fund to build a new fire station. Please make a motion today to have a public safety impact fee so that our firefighters can get the funding they need, instead of saying the rest of the city has to pay for it instead of the people who are creating the need. Thank you.
Thank you, Carolyn. Stephanie Pointer. Followed by Tara Bluma.
Good morning, Stephanie Pointer. I support everything Carol Ann just said. Number 24, Gadsden Park, $325,000 for a deck, but no reference to what they're going to spend the rest of the money on. I'm sorry, but the last time that anybody spent a bunch of money in South Tampa on a park was for a monument for $375,000 that nobody wanted to start with. And it's a congregation point for the homeless. So I would like to see where we are spending, how they're spending the money, and where the money's going to go. $750,000 is a lot of money. And I've seen other Parks and Recs motions come through that had what they were going to do with the money. This one does not. The other one that came through in the last year was for solar panels on a building that didn't need it, and you guys shot it down. So let's define where we're going to spend $750,000. Number 36, this is something the Budget Committee actually asked for, which was the building inventory. And it said that it was supposed to be between $300,000 and $400,000. Well, now it's going to be $800,000, and there's like build in there. What are we building? Why are we building something? They're just supposed to be taking inventory, last I heard. Number 66, it might be okay, but the problem is when you start putting limitations on bicycling inordinately, and it's funny because I talked to some white folks this morning who said, I didn't really see a problem with that. And then I talked to African-American folks and they go, ooh, that's ugly. I just want to, if it's okay, it's okay. But if not, I don't want to, 6 months from now, I don't want to hear biking while black again. I don't want to hear it later on down the road. And if you are not aware, that's called white privilege. If you're not aware that this is something we need to be paying attention to, that's called white privilege. Please note that. Number 53, $732,000 for generator support from the same company that's been providing generator support, who only got satisfactory, okay, since 2021. So these guys have been doing the generator support for 4 years, and they do a satisfactory job. But again, we've got $750,000 we're spending on generators that did not work last year. They did not work. And I don't care if they just didn't have diesel in them. These people were making damn good money to keep these pieces of equipment up and running. The number one thing that should have came out of any of their mouths coming back to our staff is, hey, you know you don't have any fuel there for these generators. I mean, that's just a common sense thing. That's what I would do as a property manager if that's my job, to prepare for hurricanes. Last but not least, the extended family units. It says in there that they cannot charge family members. My mother was a drunk. I owned her house. I made her pay me rent. You know why? Because if not, she drank the money. Just because you are taking care of a parent doesn't mean that they shouldn't have to pay to support themselves, at least to some degree. And military should be exempt from that.
Thank you, Stephanie. Tara Bluma, followed by Mary Beth Williams.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Tara.
I'm here to talk about agenda item 24 and the money being reallocated from small neighborhood parks to a dock and to Gadsden Park. First of all, it is like a scavenger hunt looking for information on the various City of Tampa websites for no reason. Well, there probably is a reason, and we don't want to hear that one either. But supporting documents can and should be listed as attachments in the agenda item. It says $774,000 is getting moved to Gadsden Park. There is no information about what is happening at Gadsden Park listed on the World Wide Web. I have heard a rumor that it's for ADA improvements, which is wonderful. I fully support money going to Gadsden. I want to reiterate that. We have special needs sports teams that play at Gadsden Park, and that park currently is the definition of inaccessible. So that's wonderful, but I can't find that actually written down anywhere. And if that is what the money is going for, there's already a line item in the budget for citywide Parks and Rec ADA improvements. Why is the money not coming out of that line item? And finally, it is coming from small park improvements. You all want walkable neighborhoods, and you want people to be able to walk to parks, yet you only have $2 million in these small neighborhood park budgets. So this proposal is to take half of that money out. And what are you going to accomplish with $1 million in the whole city with 96 neighborhood parks? Also, ADA improvements, I don't consider to be a small neighborhood park improvement. That would be something like repainting the lines of the tennis court at the Port Tampa Community Center, which, by the way, does need to be done. Thank you.
Thank you, Tara. Mary Beth Williams, followed by Pam Canella. Good morning.
Good morning, Chairman and City Council members. I'm here to speak today on item number 66.
Start with your name, please.
My name is Mary Beth Williams. I'm Executive Director of Friends of the Riverwalk. On behalf of our Board of Directors and the thousands of residents and visitors who enjoy the Riverwalk each week, I'm here to express our strong support of the proposed ordinance amending Section 1653 of the Tampa Code, which enhances safety regulations for bicycles, e-bikes, scooters, and other wheeled devices on multi-purpose trails within city parks. As stewards of one of Tampa's most heavily visited public spaces, we work every day to ensure that the Riverwalk is safe, accessible, and enjoyable for all users, families with children, seniors, joggers, tourists, and commuters alike. In recent years, we've seen a significant increase in high-speed and unsafe riding behaviors, large organized bicycle groups with stunt activity that has created real conflict and close call incidents with pedestrians. While we welcome diverse forms of recreation on the Riverwalk, we also recognize the need for clear enforceable standards that protect the public. This ordinance provides exactly that by establishing consistent rules like staying to the right, limiting riding two abreast, prohibiting wheelies and stunts, and setting unreasonable speed and safety equipment requirements. The city's taking proactive steps to reduce accidents and ensure that pedestrians remain the priority on these shared use paths. Just as importantly, the ordinance aligns Riverwalk and Bayshore rules with state bicycle regulations, creating clarity for both residents and law enforcement. We appreciate that the ordinance includes a structured penalty system which will help promote compliance while giving officers the tools they need to address unsafe behavior before someone gets injured. Friends of the Riverwalk is committed to working with the city, the police department, and the Parks and Recreation Department, as well as our community partners, to help educate the public about these rules and ensure a smooth transition once adopted. We believe this ordinance is a necessary step in preserving the Riverwalk as a safe, vibrant, and welcoming public space for everybody who depends on the exercise, transportation, and recreation. Thank you for your continued partnership and for the leadership in protecting one of Tampa's most cherished community assets.
Thank you very much. Pam Cannella, followed by Keela McCaskill.
My name is Pam Cannella. I'm addressing number 72. Still not enough being done by Stormwater Department. All areas of Tampa still need their storm system addressed with cleaning. Although we are led to believe it's all getting done, it is not. There are facts to prove otherwise. We were lucky this year with no rain and no hurricane. I know we were not prepared. There is limited manpower available for all of Tampa's stormwater drainage system for cleanup to catch up. I visited Forest Hills on Tuesday for their neighborhood meeting. Their discussion was on the homeowners' hurricane assistance that is available for the hardest hit areas. This neighborhood still needs maintenance while they are doing home repairs and dealing with the fact and fear that their 3 pumps didn't work and the backup generator did not have fuel. Didn't have fuel. Councilman Vieira was there. He addressed the residents, cheering them on by saying, "It's okay if you can't come to city council hearings. You are a middle-class neighborhood and need to go to work." There was also some reference to South Tampa. Then he went on to say he backs the mayor 85%. What happened to the neighborhood? I want to say I live in South Tampa, and I am a middle-class working person, and I still have to work on retirement. I want to address Palmacia Pines neighborhood. They did experience severe flooding. They are not on the hardest hit list, but I have come repeatedly to stop the Howard project so that their area and others can get the help and solution they need to prevent flooding in their area. Their area was not addressed until now in the Howard project, and they're in phase 2. I do not eat steak. I've only been to Burns once, and I have not and have never gotten paid for what I do when I come here or the hours I spend in the library doing research. I'm here for the only reason is to do the right thing. It is to help the neighborhoods, make things better for my family and my friends. I'm going to address 73. I just want to know how many companies, engineers, do we have to hire to report on what we already know? There is no maintenance. We know who got flooded. There's no money in our improvement projects. And the taxpayers and the residents who have been wronged do not want an increase in our taxes or anything else. Enough is enough. Stop irresponsible development. It falls alongside of maintenance neglect of the stormwater drains and was the number one, along with no maintenance, cause for our flooding. Thank you.
Thank you. Keela, followed by Nicholas Gorman.
Good morning, Keela McCaskill. I totally empathize with this young lady. I'm still not home from that storm, so I totally understand what she's saying. To say that we're living in some disturbing times is an understatement. I want to add to that, as a black woman trying to live out my assignment in life as a real estate professional that went into advocacy and development, I'm truly disturbed. So for me to see some of the things that's happened in this city, that's happening in this city. I mean, from the point that you admit some of the racism, then we established a resolution 568, then it was removed because of funding, which you could have found a way to fund it. I'm a firm believer, I live by the principle, when you want to do something, you find a way. And if you don't, you find an excuse. And so it reminds me of how racist this city that I grew up, that educated me, that trained me in everything that I know, how racist this city is. And so I wanted to come to share some of those concerns as it relates to that. You all know what I mean, we've seen biking while black, we've seen renting while black. If you black and you dead, you disrespected while black. I mean, we've seen it all. We've seen all these things happen. And so as we watch this and agenda item 65 comes up, and it does smell like a piece of biking while black. But the bigger concern is that here recently in our arts community, locally, here in Ybor, we saw one of our artists be gunned down. And I understand. And I know that many of you can't say much about the incident. But I want to tap into your humanity today. Find a way to say to your constituents, find a way to say to your community, we see, we understand, we care, we're asking questions, we're going to respond publicly. Say it publicly. I don't think you have to call anybody to say that. I want you in your, just being a decent human being, to find a way to communicate to the people that have to vote for you, for the people that have to look you in your face and say, well, you don't understand because you're of other ethnicity, or you don't understand because you didn't come from where I'm coming from. I know most of you very well. I like you. So I know that it could be you're limited based on your capacity. Maybe you've been given a message not to comment because it's under investigation. We don't even have to talk about what happened. I just want to know, and I want you to share with your community, you see, you give it, you care, you understand, and you're asking for answers. That's it. I don't think that requires emotion. You don't need nobody approval to be human. You can do the little thing and just say, we see, we care, we're asking questions, and we're going to get back to you. I totally support Gaston Park. It doesn't even have bathrooms. I don't think they have, do they have functional bathrooms at Gaston Park? And it's for children with special needs. I hope that you support that. I support impact fees, raise them. I was down here requesting it right along with Fan, so I support that. Thank you.
Thank you, Keila. Nicholas Corman, followed by Gary Brown. It looks like you may be speaking about an issue that's a hearing as well.
Yeah, I apologize. I believe my time is during item 4 on the planning commission.
Okay. Okay, so Nicholas, you're, okay, very good. And Gary Brown, are you in the audience?
Yeah,
Gary?
I'm going to wait for the public hearing.
Okay, very good. Brent Taylor, followed by Stephen McElhaney. Shouldn't you be down in Anna Maria?
Well, just so you know, there are people that are working, so we're good to go.
Good.
So I'm Brent Taylor. Full transparency, I'm actually doing a project right now for Alan on a personal house, so that's why he's asking me about why I should be at Anna Maria. So I'm here this morning on the impact fee. As a local builder, local developer, I think the first question for me is you know, why now? And from what the research I've done, the why now is because of the law that's coming into place here pretty quickly. I think what's triggering those of us that are going to speak to be here at this moment is the fact that it's not the impact fee itself, it's the amount of the increase all at one time and how that's going to affect us as builders and developers in the short term. Yes, over time we will build it in. Over time we will incur those costs. Over time, unfortunately, whether it be homeowners or commercial developers, will obviously, the end party will be who incurs the cost at the end of the day. But in the short term, a lot of these costs are not already built in. And so we're going to incur those, and it's going to make us make some drastic decisions on the front end. So yeah, I stand here and say I'm not necessarily against the impact fee because I understand why we need the funds and the monies to do what we do inside the city limits. But I think there needs to be a closer look and an incremental increase. And at the end of the day, what that final number is that is tied to these projects, hopefully is going to be lower than what's been presented in the past. Thank you.
Thank you, Brent. Steve Michelini, followed by Tina Adams.
Good morning, council. I'm here on a couple of different issues, but let me start with the impact fee. I think everyone recognizes that the impact fees need to be adjusted. And I think you've heard resoundingly that you can't absorb that cost overnight if it goes to the maximum. And I've, just to give you a decent timeline, it takes you about a year to arrange your financing. It takes another year for your plans to be developed, and if you have a rezoning, that's 2 years. I mean, that's cumulatively 2 years, financing and the rezoning. And then it takes you another 6 months to get through the permitting process. So the sooner that you get these projects online, the better your tax base will be. We're talking about phasing. I think you received a letter already indicating that, you know, the builders are supporting an increase, simply that they can't absorb a huge increase overnight. Well, we still don't think that, that they met the criteria to exceed the 50% increase. The proposal that's on the board right now is a 500% increase, which is very difficult to absorb. Also, if you adopt this, we'd recommend that you link the salaries and limit the salaries that can be paid for these and direct the funds toward actual construction and improvements so that you don't have a disproportional amount of money going to support administrative costs and salaries. Jumping over to stormwater, they have pump stations that don't work. They're not putting the maintenance in. It has to be maintenance first. And I think I've showed you this picture. When the city Parks and Recreation came to you, they said these types of installations were not tenable and that they would not approve them. But this is what's coming, this is what's shown in your stormwater report that you're going to receive today. You see these little strips of land with landscaping and trees. You see these cutouts with trees, and then trees like this, and then you'd have $6 million sitting in a tree trust fund that obviously, you know, this would qualify for that, but you can't get through the system. The bottom line is maintenance first. If you don't get the maintenance in, it doesn't matter what you build. The maintenance right now has failed. It simply isn't working. And the direction, the 100% of this direction should be, before you spend another dollar for money that you don't have, that's not financed, you have $300,000 left in your budget for the entire city. No more than that. And if you don't spend the money on maintenance, it doesn't matter what you build. Thank you.
Thank you, Stephen. Tina Adams, followed by Nadia Asgar.
My name's Tina Adams, and I just wanted to say good afternoon and welcome to Councilwoman Young. I'm back here to support the South Howard Relief Flood Project and to remind you of the human toll that procrastination takes. In 2015, our garage flooded and other structures flooded. The city studied the problem. They said there were solutions, they were too expensive. They didn't fix it. Fast forward 10 years, and then by the city's estimate, over 300 homes and businesses flooded devastatingly. This was in flood zone X, evacuation zone C. So most of these people were at home when it flooded. My home flooded. It's been devastating. We're still working on it. We're still finding things. We were lucky enough to have flood insurance, but it doesn't cover everything. Insurance never covers everything. Our homes flooded not because of the natural disaster. They flooded because of a man-made disaster. They flooded because of inadequate stormwater and sewage systems that were also not maintained, but they're still inadequate. Maintaining an inadequate system doesn't get you very far. I want to remind you that along with all those homes, there was a hospital that could not be accessed during a natural disaster. Let that sink in. Ambulances couldn't get there. Nobody could get there. Swan Avenue was in between 4 to 5 feet of water. Police cars were stranded, emergency vehicles. That's what we were dealing with last year. Thank God for the drought this year. Never thought I'd say that, but I'm thankful for the drought. We need solutions as soon as possible. Time has proven that flooding is getting worse, and this is getting more expensive to fix. This is our time to work together and support the many people that have been devastated by this flooding and fix the problem. Your experts and engineers have come up with solutions. I believe in those people. They've done this before. They know how to fix it. It will be expensive and it will be hard, but we also should work with the businesses who will be impacted by the construction. Parkland Estates Civic Club sent you letters supporting this project. Everybody wants to work together to make this right. The city has and continues to collect stormwater fees.
Thank you, Tina.
Okay,
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Nadia Askar, followed by Tony Daniels Matesna. Good morning.
Good morning. My name is Nadia Askar. I'm here to speak about Mohammed Ibrahim, a 16-year-old American child from our community who has been illegally detained by Israel since February. He was blindfolded and he was zip-tied at 3 o'clock in the morning, and that was the last time that his family has seen or spoken to him. Mohammed, since being detained, he's lost over a quarter of his body weight, and he's contracted scabies as well. I'm not sure if anybody here has children, but you can't imagine what a child looks like after losing 25% of their body weight during very critical stages of the growing in their life. He went from 105 pounds to 71 pounds, and now the consulate member that has been in contact with his family now only reports low BMI. It's gotten that low. I'm here today to urge you to use your voices as elected representatives of Tampa to help bring this child home. Community members, organizations, and the family has been raising alarms for months. So it's disappointing that I'm here. It's disappointing that this conversation even needs to be had because it is long overdue. I understand this council may feel like, you don't have the same level of political pull as the State Department, as Congress, but you do have a public platform and a duty to your constituents. If one of your own residents, especially a child, is unjustly detained abroad, we need to know that you would fight for us, fight for them. A simple public statement from the council sends a powerful message, and that is that Tampa protects its people even beyond our borders. So many people of conscience from all over the states have been making calls to different offices. We've been signing letters to end up on desks of higher ups. We've been organizing actions and protests, one of them being outside of the court about 2 weeks ago. A group of Florida constituents, a group of residents from Tampa and Florida, all over Florida, actually, we went to DC to speak to congressional members about Mohammed Ibrahim. To bring him home to his family, something that we can't do for his cousin Saifullah Musalat, who is another Tampa resident, 20-year-old, who was murdered, beaten to death by Israeli settlers on his land, again, while on vacation visiting his family in Palestine. So at this point, this is a story of two sisters. One sister that has buried her son and another sister who's consoling her son, consoling her sister, not hoping for the same reaction or the same outcome. So it's essential for us to help prevent that tragedy. I want to share a story really quickly. I know I only have a couple seconds that speaks to Mohammed's personality or who he is. Finally, when an American consulate member was able to speak to him, they told him his Uncle Z is working for him as hard as he can, trying to get people in Congress to get Mohammed out. And all he was concerned about was whether or not his sister had again, we have only, this is why I'm here, it's urgent. I don't want to be here in a couple of months having to explain why you didn't do anything and why he is not here.
Uhuru Mtesnat means freedom in Swahili. We as African people should always be thinking about our freedom. Martin Chambers, Melvin Hare, J.J. Rivera, Cedric McKinney, Edgar Allan Kojak Price, Jackie Simpson, Devon Green, Luke Hanna, James Lumpkins, Granville Ritchie, Felicia Sugarplum Williams, Dante Morris, John Jerome Papa Love, Howell Emanuel, Tampa Heights serial killer Donaldson, Rashia First Lady Wilson. Those are just a few black names that the white authorities and white news media of Tampa have made public or notable. The KKK has murdered hundreds of thousands of African people, and nobody knows the names of those white murderers. The official police department has murdered tens of thousands of African people, and no one knows the names of those white murderers. Seems like the only time a black man, black woman, or child can safely be in public in Ybor City, College Hill, Ponce de Leon, or East Tampa is if we are begging for food or begging for money. Black people aren't even safe at Tampa City Council meetings. That was recently proven when I was personally dragged out of this exact public chamber and arrested for trespassing. Meanwhile, the white people were smart enough to turn off the cameras in order to hide their criminal activity. White people know how to hide and cover up crime when they're in the business of protecting their own kind. Why isn't our District 5 representative publicly calling for the name and arrest of the murderer of this black man? The black community wants answers, and we are demanding that the Tampa Police Department release the names of all parties involved in the murder of DJ Shy Guy. On the other note, some people who don't know me personally think that I'm racist. But people who know me personally know that I have many white girlfriends, that my best friend is white, my lawn care maintenance man is white, my house cleaning lady is white. I have biracial children, grandchildren, and great-grandchildren, and I love white people. With that being revealed about myself, I would like to know if the city council chairman has ever ate or eaten any black booty.
Charlie Adams, followed by Elizabeth Dinwiddie.
Good morning, City Council. Thank you
Good
all
morning.
for having me this morning. Naive Councilwoman Naive Young, congratulations on your victory. So I would like to come up here and give a report on the Springs Market, and it was I would like to say a success. There are some things I would like to highlight in regards to moving forward and the impact, I believe, if we want to be persistent, things we have to pay attention to. Maybe after tonight, this evening, I will no longer be a part of or president of the Sulphur Springs Neighborhood Association. After 3 years of hard work and putting the time and equity, the sweat equity, and not getting paid a dime for it, which is so. It seemed as though I'm no longer lead it. I wasn't even slated as a board member. And that concerns me because now there's people in place that don't have the same passion, the same love, and care for our community. And I will like to make sure that the work and the vision that I have for this community and others as well that's backed and supported, that it don't get mixed up. And what was, I believe, is the reason why we're in this position to begin with, in regards to the way Sulphur Springs has been neglected. There's power, the power has been here, there's been people ready and willing to support the Sulphur Springs area, but it seems that the people that's been in power for decades seem to not, spread that love or the resources that's needed for our community, and it's just not something that's made up, or I'm talking from firsthand experience, starting at Sulphur Springs Elementary. The wealth is not spread, and there's only a small number of people that collects these resources, and it's not spread. So with the Springs Market, why I created it, and the reason why I went to Sulphur Springs Park is because the other public green spaces in the area, parks, park and recs, it's been wrapped up in politics by the people that say they're here to support us. They don't allow us to use the parks, the natives, right? So I had to find a way to get away from that in order to support the entire community, right? And not just focus on a small number of few. So moving forward, I would like to just make sure that when I mention this Springs Market, I get real support from the city of Tampa, and I need your help in order to save this community. And I'm afraid that if the power goes back to the same people that got it, that's been in position, a lot of people will get left behind. Thank you.
Thank you, Charlie. Elizabeth Denwittle, followed by Sergio Joss. Morning.
Good morning. My name's Elizabeth Dinwiddie. I'm also commonly known as Liz Arcadu. I'd like to say hi to Miss Young. Hope to meet her in the future. I just want to acknowledge actually the powerful comments today. It's difficult to even speak following some of these very important topics. I feel like my topic is not as important as people being killed and things like that, but in fact it is, because it's a safety issue. I'm here with my friend Tina Adams. I was not planning to speak, so I'm not that prepared, but she asked me to speak anyway regarding the South Howard Flood Relief Project. And though it may not seem as important, it is 300 properties that flood unnecessarily. And each property has in it, in my home, there are 4. So that's over, and then you look at these businesses where there are many people in those properties. And so you're looking at over 1,000 people that are affected by this flooding, just in residences, not considering the people that drive by, not knowing about the flooding issues in the area. So this is a very important safety issue, and it is a life-threatening issue. It's a hospital in the middle of the body of water that forms. So ambulances can't get there. The power gets cut off to people who are on life-saving machines. So this is a very important issue. And I'm talking about it again today because I'm just trying to keep awareness of the topic. It's a very political situation that I found myself in. I lived in a flood zone before this property, and I had flood insurance. My husband and I carried flood insurance on that property for every year that we lived there. That was 12 years approximately, and I paid just in flood insurance, I paid between $3,000 and $4,000 a year. No one wants to cover the flood zone A properties. I probably was lucky to even get it. I don't know if you can even get it now. But I had flood insurance on that property, and I knew that if I was going to flood there, I had insurance. I moved into Palmacia Pines because it was a flood zone X property. And this is what I experienced there. I don't know if you can zoom in how this thing works, but this is the body of water that forms in a flood zone X. It is a lake that forms in a flood zone X, and this is to differentiate from coastal properties. This is because of lack of pipes. This is someone else's video, not mine.
Thank you, Liz.
So I'm here to just remind you of that. Thank you.
Mr. Doss.
Excuse me. Oh, thank you, sir.
Yes, ma'am. We have our lines. We have like 5 lines.
Good morning, I'm Chagret Doss, and as you can see, I'm an Army discharged Army veteran. And it's been said that if they ain't talking about you, you ain't doing something right. And I believe that some of y'all at Tampa City Council were talking about me to your folk over there. And I'm also convinced that Tampa, I was really hoping that my young lady that gives Tampa history is here because she could talk about what the Anti-Literacy Act was. And I kind of think Tampa has reinstated that. That kind of existed before the end of the Civil War. But somebody asked me to ask y'all, you know, what's the issue with teaching people, particularly marginalized folks, how to read and write in this country? At one time, you know, I actually worked with the school systems, Leon County and Hillsborough County. And it's interesting that they think that you all try to silence strong voices. But he's gone now, but I'm going to piggyback on the councilman's segue from Peter, because in that very same scripture, well, a little bit further down, he says, cast your cares unto me. And I know y'all love to thump that Bible and read from it and all this other stuff, but I'm not going to allow my frustrations to frustrate me, particularly with you people. I'm going to give those frustrations to the Most High. It's been said that his yoke is easy and his burden is light. And further down in Matthew, or actually in Matthew a little bit further up, it says, worry not about what to say when they come to take you up on my name. It'll be given to you in that time and place. And all y'all know I ain't scared of none of y'all. Never have been, never will be. Because this is only the vessel that I occupy temporarily. And I understand what retaliation is. I know what you all like to dismiss, discredit, demonize, and then you destroy. And so I'm not going to be worried about that. But shout out to Chuck D. I got this letter from your government the other day. And as I opened it and read it, it said, y'all don't read. Because clearly in this letter, when they were saying that unauthorized practice of law, which is really simply me teaching folk how to read, and it seems to have upset you all. So what I wanted to do is, since we're partners anyway on YouTube, because you all share my revenue, it states clearly on my website, and y'all can go to gdnapsc.com, there's a disclaimer right there. See, I'm not an attorney, I don't have a license to practice law, I don't practice law. What I do is study law, tell people to learn how to gather the information. So I don't give any information as advice to apply to your specific case, but it's general information regarding all lawful principles, which, by the way, belong to the people. I had to get through that so we can get out of here. And even on the YouTube page, a disclaimer is also there, similarly situated, big as day. So I understand what it is, and we're going to keep on grinding, we're going to keep on bumping. That being said, because we're still playing, shout out to the greatest institution of higher learning in the city of Tampa, the University of Thomas Jefferson High School.
Thank you, Mr. Doss. Robin Lockett.
Good morning, Council. Robin Lockett. Two things. Item 24, the $1.1 million. I didn't know we had a small park improvement, but hey, Yellow Jackets is coming up. We're looking for money. I see how y'all moving money from one place to the other, so just keep that in mind. Second thing is, I wasn't going to speak about this, but it's interesting. Item 66. Right? Wasn't sure what that was until the Friends for Riverwalk, I'm assuming they're the ones that's pursuing and want this change. One thing I want you guys to be mindful of is, because they want the change, if it's not just for Riverwalk, it's for all the other parks, profiling, everything will hit those other parks. So do some type of study, ask them for, if they are saying, hey, people are being hurt, what type of documentation did you have? What numbers are you seeing in regards to this versus just saying that? What's the proof of it? So do some background on it. Because again, ticketing, profiling, all of that ends up being harmful for the Black community. And they won't do it at Riverwalk, but they'll come into the Black community and do it. So just be mindful of just being very diligent regarding this. Thank you. And my condolences to the Sachs family. I'm friends of that family. And my condolences to the Sachs family. Thank you.
Thank you, Robin. David Cornell, that's our last in-person public speaker. We'll go on to online after that.
Good morning. My name is David Cornell. The reason I've come here before the council is to talk about the underrepresentation of black police officers in Highland Pines, District 5. This just basically shows, as of the census in 2020, there are 1,643 black citizens in Highland Pines, again, of District 5. So this is nothing really scientific about it, but it's just been noted that there are not very many black police officers in that district. When I went before the Highland Pines Community Center, I was the only white person there, but I learned a lot. They talked about the history of Highland Pines. The elders, the black elders, said when they moved there in the 1960s and 70s, it was primarily white and Hispanic. And then when they moved into the one particular neighborhood of Highland Pines, the for sale signs started going up. So about 81% of Highland Pines is black. And so I talked to a lot of people, one of our crossing guards, and I talked to a lot of people, and they all pretty much concur. There are very, very few black officers, and this concerns me gravely. So I would like to inspire the City Council call to action. I'm not here to criticize the police department. We're here to help the city make good on its own commitments of equity and trust. We share Tampa Police Department's vision, reducing crime and enhancing quality of life through partnerships. Let's ensure that those partnerships reflect the people who live here. I respectfully request that, let me start that again. I respectfully request the council consider directing staff to review the underrepresentation of black police officers in Highland Pines. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Okay, that concludes our in-person public comment. We have 5 registered speakers. Clerk, is Andrea Thomas online? Ms. Thomas, can you hear us? Unmute yourself, please. Ms. Thomas, unmute.
Yes, sir, I can.
Very good. You have 3 minutes. Start with your name, please.
My name is Andrea Thomas. As a lifelong Tampa resident and a daily visitor of Laurie Park, located at 7252 North Boulevard, I'm extremely concerned about the impact the Zoo Tampa expansion will have on this green space. This park is not only a refuge to the humans of our community, but home to lots of wildlife. You often see our iconic Florida wildlife scattered throughout the park. Alligators and manatees in the river, even the occasional dolphin and stingray. Red-tailed hawks, great blue herons, egrets, and once in a while a roseate spoonbill. The park is filled with beautiful sprawling oaks, the native bald cypress and sweet gum maple, and many other species of native Florida flora. There is also several freshwater springs inside the park, which add beauty and diversity to the environment. This park is also over 100 years old, and it has become a staple of this community. It is a safe space where parents can allow their children to play, where pet owners can walk their dogs in a safe environment, and where you can walk in nature in the middle of the city and visit with your neighbors and fellow community members. The loss of this green space would be a tremendous loss for our community, not only now, but for future generations. With the explosion of population growth Florida has seen in the past several years, much of our land has been developed and paved over, resulting not just in the loss of these spaces, but also in flooding and sinkhole issues. By preserving as much of Laurie Park as possible, you would demonstrate an understanding of just how valuable these spaces are, setting a positive example for other Florida cities. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Is Ashley Morrow online? Ashley, if you unmute yourself, start with your name. You have 3 minutes. Ashley?
Hello?
There you go.
Hello?
Start with your name, please. You
Hi.
have 3 minutes.
Hello, my name is Ashley Morrow, and I'll be sharing Tampa's Black History. Obviously, I'm not in the room today. I am in New Orleans shooting a convention, the American Anthropological Association annual meeting. And I love this convention because it focuses on history and ethics. And with that being said, I've been going on tours And like I said before, I love how all of this history is connected. I would love to go to Fort Pike, as I've explained before, that the Seminoles and Black Seminoles were shipped here in New Orleans in 1837 into the 1840s and 50s. But the fort is closed, unfortunately, so I can't visit there. I did go on a tour, and she talked about the transportation of the Seminoles and the Trail of Tears. And I thought it was interesting because she got to the Seminoles part. She talked about the Cherokee and the other 5 tribes, and well, 4 tribes. And she mentioned that the Seminoles came here via the Trail of Tears, and that was my end because I was able to say they came out of Tampa. So out of that acronym that we discussed before, ERA, Education, Recognition, and Accountability, the education for me was where I've already learned about it. So when I recognized it in the story, where Tampa fell into that story, I got excited. In my the way I took accountability is I shared it with others. A lot of people don't have a lot of money to put towards things, but you can share information. Knowledge is very valuable. And I believe Daryl brought up literacy earlier. I actually have a book list on my website, blacktampahistorians.com. One of the books is about the Florida Negro Wars, Black Seminoles, and the Second Seminole War, 1835 to 1842, by Dr. Anthony E. Dixon. He's actually working on a project called the Black Seminole Project. You can go to blackseminoleproject.com, where he's already done a 30-minute documentary. He is currently working on a 60-minute documentary. And he's gone to Texas, Oklahoma, Mexico. He's trying to get to the Bahamas. He's looking for funding for that. But he's basically going to these places where these Seminoles were shipped to. So if you want to look at I believe the 30-minute documentary, you can view it on his website. If you want to donate towards his project, it is blackseminoleproject.com. He's been working on it for a very long time, and he's very knowledgeable, and he wrote this book, Dr. Anthony E. Dixon. And that's everything for me. Oh, if you were looking for photography, ashleycanay.com. Thank you guys so much for your time.
Thank you, Ashley, as always. Michael Randolph. Morning, Michael.
Good morning. My name is Michael Randolph. Last week, we shared predictive artificial intelligence models showing a projected 14 to 17% displacement in West Tampa, and how cities like Detroit and Buffalo were using data and policies to protect residents. Today, we want to introduce 2 new tools that work together to end gentrification: the Opportunity Zone and Community Benefit Agreement. Let's start with the Opportunity Zone. The Opportunity Zone don't have to drive displacement. With strong local policy, they can stabilize community by applying inclusive zoning, supporting community ownership models, and embedding anti-displacement safeguards in every investment. Cities like Buffalo have already started predictive destruction approach to scale opportunity zone dollars towards stabilization and not speculation. Expanding opportunity in West Tampa. The Opportunity Zone 101 has been broadened its eligibility. In West Tampa, we're requesting that the Business Core District eastern boundary be extended to North Boulevard to include that part of the community. The Community Benefit Agreement. The Community Benefit Agreement, a scalable model. This anti-displacement initiative grew from the grassroots support during the Rome Yard development, securing a community benefit agreement that includes a developer-funded workforce and entertainment and training center, a strategic engineer for community building. The piece that we're doing is the West Tampa Wealth Building and Job Creation Center. This core components includes using 70% of artificial staffing to reduce costs and boost impact. Training young people as young as 10 on how to use artificial intelligence. Equips adults with limited education to gain multiple tech skills. Bottom line, with CRA alignment, the Opportunity Zone, and the Community Benefit Agreement, West Tampa is poised to become a national model for equity development without displacement. Please pay attention to the redistricting. We're going to be calling a meeting relating to redistricting to make sure it's not going to impact the Black community. Thank you.
Thank you, Michael. Next speaker is Teresa Perino. Nobody else is online. Okay, that concludes our public comment for today. Thank you very much. Our next agenda item is the appointment to a position on the Hillsborough County City Planning Organization. We have 6 applicants. How many applicants are in the room? Is Shirley Fox Knowles coming in?
Yeah, we need to do 3 first.
Oh, we did 3. Oh, forgot about 3. Never mind. Disregard. Our next is appointment of Rick Kugler to the Hillsborough County City Planning Commission. Is Rick in the room? Okay. I just wanted to give him an opportunity to speak if he was here. Okay, very good. We have a motion from Councilman Maniscalco to move item 3. A second from Councilman Vieira. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? The ayes have it unanimously. Thank you very much. Now, our wonderful clerk. Good morning.
Good
Or
afternoon.
afternoon. It should be morning, but it's afternoon.
Yes. Shirley Fox Knowles, City Clerk. I'm here to introduce the applicants that's vying for the Hillsborough County, City County Planning Commission, filling the expired term of member Karen Kress, whose term ended September 30th, 2025. We have 6 applicants. The first one is Mr. David Kern.
David, are you on? Would you like to speak?
Yes, sir.
Come on up to the podium. Start with your name, please.
Good morning. My name is Dave Kern. Thank you for the opportunity to speak to you today about my application to the Planning Commission. After attending University of Florida, I moved to Tampa, where I've lived for 35 years. I've raised my family here. I'm married with 2 grown children. My son works for an investment firm in town, and my daughter is currently attending college down in South Florida for medical school. Most of my career, I've been a commercial real estate banker. Started with Barnett Bank, which is now Bank of America, and then from there went on to Regions Bank, and then JP Morgan. And in those roles, I led commercial real estate lending offices in Tampa, Jacksonville, and Orlando, and I've lent on property from Panama City down to Key West. Along the way, I've also had the opportunity to build relationships with national real estate investors from around the country. So I've been involved in some financing of large master plan communities, including DRIs, CDD finance developments throughout the country. After a rewarding career in banking, 5 years ago, I joined a commercial real estate firm called Foundry Commercial. We're based in Orlando. Of course, I run the Tampa office. We lease and manage about 80 million square feet of commercial real estate, and we've invested over $5 billion throughout the Southeast. I made the decision to leave banking and change careers and really kind of put roots down in Tampa because I was just really excited about the growth that this city's experienced. Again, been here over 30 years, and the last several years, especially since COVID, have been very exciting, but also very challenging. And so I can appreciate the importance of planning as we move forward from this point. Outside of that, a case study for how I believe that planning is really influencing this city. Leading into COVID, we had over 1 million square feet of spec office buildings come online, and the most recent building that had been built was over 15 years ago. And after COVID hit throughout the country, office occupancy plummeted, but all 4 of those projects have been successful, attracting employers and young talent to this city, which has just been transformative. And I've been fortunate enough to have a front row seat in many of those developments, and I believe that experience would really be beneficial in our conversations regarding planning. So in summary, I just thought I'd highlight 3 attributes that I think I can bring to the commission. First is really a national presence, but a local focus. Again, I had the opportunity to be involved in developments throughout the country, but really now focusing specifically on the city of Tampa and Hillsborough County. I'm very up to speed on land use policy. My day job requires that. So everything from PDs to USAs to FLUs, land development codes, all things in between. So I've got a very good working knowledge of that and I'm learning more about that every day. And finally, I have a lifelong focus on wellness and believe that that would be instrumental as well. So thanks for your time.
Thank you very much. We appreciate it.
The next applicant is Mr. Gavin Covey.
Good morning, Mr. Covey. If you start with your name, please.
Good afternoon, Gavin Covey. I want to thank the City Council for hearing me for an appointment today. I also want to thank the chairman for not immediately disqualifying me after closing the elevator door on him this morning.
That's right.
That it was a little
That
bit
is
of
a fact.
a nervous panic this morning.
Keyword there is immediately.
Immediately is true. That's correct. So I was born and raised in Tampa my entire life. I went to high school here. I went to university here. I got my bachelor's degree in political science with a minor in urban studies. I ended up, missing USF so much that I decided to get my master's degree in urban and regional planning. I actually graduated in August with my master's degree while working full-time as a public planner for Pasco County. And I also, during that time, I passed my American Institute of Certified Planners exam. So I am a certified planner through the American Planning Association. I think being a good planning commissioner really requires two aspects, and it's one, being community focused, and two, obviously having the planning knowledge to innovate policy and help guide recommendations for this council. I believe that I have both of those qualities. As being a long-term Tampa resident, I've been involved in the community, whether that be feeding Tampa Bay, whether that be through the arts. I was in band in high school and college. I'm invested in this community, and I see what assets it has, and I see the potential, and I see how planning can make this city one of the great American cities in the future. And I see that a lot of our community members are having issues with development and making sure that those voices are being heard and making sure that it's as equitable as possible for everyone. Like I said, I'm also a public planner. I do planning day in and day out. It is my day job. So I'm constantly reviewing comprehensive plan amendments, master plan unit developments, development agreements, everything. I specifically work within a special district within Pasco County. So I'm also a regional planner, understanding the transportation network, the park system, utility system, making sure that those are coming online for future development to occur and to make sure that our communities are safe and have the resources to live a good, healthy life. So, thank you.
Thank you very much.
Council, the next applicant is Hallie Short.
Good afternoon. My name is Haley Short. I believe my experience of local knowledge, professional background, and board expertise will support the city's growth in a responsible and strategic direction. I am currently a board member with the Housing Finance Authority for Alachua County, and we have issued over $30 million in municipal bonds this year for affordable housing development projects. Having gained firsthand knowledge in public finance and affordable housing development, I understand how to navigate challenging environments to build consensus among diverse stakeholders. Professionally, I work as a land and development broker on a team that has closed over $1 billion in development transactions across the state. Day to day, I'm working with engineers, developers, and local governments across the state and the Southeast to understand feasibility of developments and their larger land use goals for their community. Tampa has been my home for nearly 20 years, and it's very clear that we are at a pivotal stage of growth. The decisions that we make today and that this commission makes in the following few months are going to shape our community for decades. After losing my home in Helene last year, I think there are significant questions and concerns around open space, flooding, stormwater management, and how developers are really utilizing their land. I've really seen how thoughtful policy can protect and preserve our communities and the character of our neighborhoods. But I've also seen how missteps can create friction, frustrate residents, and really stall progress. My value add is that I'm having these conversations with different planning commissions across the state, as well as with national developers that are wanting to get this kind of work done. I think that my unique position allows me to find a common ground between the private sector's interests and, realities of public policy and what we can do in our communities. Tampa really deserves more leaders who have that understanding, who can speak with the institutional builders and understand their goals and their projects, while understanding and growing up in their community and protecting the interests of residents who live there and don't have a voice in the matter. The city has given me every opportunity in my life so far. I went to high school here. I'd like to give back to it. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you. The next applicant is Justin Walsh.
Is there Justin in the room? Justin going once, going twice. Thank you very much.
The next applicant is Matthew Scenic.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning. It's going to be good morning. Now it's good afternoon.
Oh, it's good afternoon.
I know, right?
Sorry.
It's messing us all up. Good afternoon. My name is Matt Sink, and I'm honored to be considered for the Planning Commission seat representing the City of Tampa. I've lived in Tampa since 2004, and over the last 20 years, I've seen the tremendous growth that we've had. And what I always find so interesting is how incremental, thoughtful changes, project by project, policy by policy, and steady improvement has kind of changed the lifestyle and the care that our neighborhoods have. It didn't happen overnight, but focused, small, meaningful steps have added up and produced a really big change, and we've seen it all happen. Professionally, I began my leadership roles with large national builders, and over time, I brought that experience home. So I founded a Tampa-based firm specializing in multifamily design, custom homes, ADUs, and small-scale infill projects in neighborhoods like Tampa Heights. That work has shown me how land use decisions directly shape opportunity. I'm always committed to finding ways to make housing more affordable, so even little things can add up and make it affordable for our residents. I think that land use is the most powerful tools we have to drive value and promote accessibility. I currently serve as an appointee for the Hillsborough County Transportation Planning Organization Citizen Advisory Committee. And I believe in that, and I'm always here consistently advocating for reliable transportation options and ensuring that priorities like extending the streetcar system is heard at the board hearing, or at the board meetings. Through my time as boards such as Tampa Heights Civic Association, the TPO CAC, I learned the value of coming prepared and asking really good questions. And the value of asking the questions is not always for me, is to open up the conversation so that people can understand. Here's the background, here's what to consider. Like, those are big conversations that if you don't ask the right questions, people don't even know that they're missing out on something. So I think that, working together impacts our communities. In addition to the experience on boards, I've also was a key contributor with Brian Seal and Tampa Heights Civic Association with the citizen-initiated code amendment that created Tampa Heights Overlay District. So the good thing about that was that it taught us we can make change and we can make small changes, but you have to go hand in hand with policy and the neighborhoods to kind of get that support and the understanding of what people need. And something I think that truly separates me from other candidates is I have a track record for showing up. I show up at community meetings, I show up at council meetings, I show up at Hyde Park architectural walking tours, I show up at CAC meetings, civic association meetings, land use committee meetings, FDOT information sessions, planning commission, comp plan, I'm even in the photos for their marketing. So showing up is what makes me a reliable appointee. I show up because it's important. I show up because my neighbors rely on me. So when they have questions, they can come to me and say, hey Matt, how do I solve this? I don't know, but here's the resource to go to, right? So I think the one thing I bring is my proven track record of consistently showing up, listening, and making time to be a part of the solution, and not coming up and just complaining.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys. Have a good day.
Appreciate it. One more.
Council, the last candidate is Nicholas Gorman.
Good morning, sir.
Morning. Good afternoon.
Or afternoon. I'm not going to get that right. It'll be dark out, and I'll still be saying good morning. Go ahead.
My name
Yes, you can
is-
start the timer again, please. Okay. Go
My
ahead.
name is Nicholas Gorman. I'm currently an Economic Development Manager at the Tampa Bay Economic Development Council. I appreciate the opportunity to speak with you all today about serving on the Hillsborough City and County Planning Commission. Tampa isn't just where I work, it's where I grew up, where my family has chosen to build a future. I was raised in Plant City, while my father served 10 years of his 30-year military career on active duty at MacDill Air Force Base. And I attended Hillsborough County schools from K through 12. Today, my wife and I are proud homeowners in West Tampa, where we've lived since 2020, and I can confidently say we were very grateful when the city repaved many of our streets last month because they truly needed some TLC. My wife serves our community as a nurse at Tampa General Hospital, and we both see Tampa as our long-term home. Over the past 20 years, I've watched this region grow tremendously and thoughtfully. And that perspective has instilled in me a deep commitment to serve our community, and that's why I've engaged in programs like Emerging Leaders of Tampa Bay through the Tampa Bay Chamber of Commerce and the University of Tampa Board of Counselors, and why I'm currently pursuing my MBA at the University of Tampa to continue contributing meaningfully and responsibly to the future of this region. In my professional role at the Tampa Bay EDC, I work every day with employers, site selectors, developers, and community partners, giving me practical insight into how planning decisions directly influence economic opportunity and quality of life. While economic development and long-range planning are distinct missions, they complement each other. And that perspective positions me to contribute in a balanced, informed, and community-centered way. If appointed, I would bring 3 core priorities to the commission. First, a commitment to data-driven and policy-aligned decision-making, ensuring recommendations align with a comprehensive plan and long-term community goals. Second, a dedication to transparency and engagement, ensuring residents feel heard, respected, and included in decisions that shape their neighborhoods. Third, a long-range responsible perspective, recognizing that Tampa's growth must balance housing, mobility, environmental sustainability, and economic resilience. I believe in Tampa's potential because I've lived it. I've seen its growth, its challenges, and its promise. And I'm committed to helping guide its future with intention and inclusivity. Thank you for your time, your service, and for considering my appointment to the Planning Commission. It would be an honor to serve the community that has given so much to me.
Thank you, Nicholas.
Many thanks to all the candidates. I believe you have a ballot. Vote for one.
Thank you. I have to say, since I've been on council, this is probably the most experienced group of folks applying for one position that I've seen. I mean, it's really, it's really quite impressive. It's, which makes this really difficult. It's a really good group of people.
And I drove down I-10 this morning, I drive through that whole area, and I know they did a good job paving, especially Gomez, which was awful all the way to Columbus. Yep.
Couldn't agree more.
Enough of you guys telling it's cold. It feels good in here.
This very recent. Yeah.
Well, you should wear a jacket and a
Bring
tie.
a blanket. Sometimes I have socks sometimes too that I put on. Oh yeah.
Shush, shush. The air conditioner's just fine.
Cold.
Feels good, yeah,
Because y'all are wearing jackets.
exactly.
Don't wear a jacket. Problem solved.
Why don't you let them set it and then we'll see if we notice?
Exactly.
Oh, I do.
Ooh, I love
Oh,
that.
no, she hears me, go, that's sucking up.
Council, you have selected Matthew Sink, who has 5 votes, and they were received by Maniscalco, Hurtak, Young, Vieira, and Carson. Gavin Scobie received 1 vote for by Clendenin.
That's because you closed the elevator door on me.
Congratulations.
Plus, I've already given Matthew Sink an appointment, so he's already working for me on something else. So. Councilman Vera.
Thank you. No, I want to reiterate what was said, just to that, number one, it takes a lot of guts and all that to apply and just come in a public forum like that. But all of y'all were really, really stellar. And, you know, like one would go up, I go, oh, that guy's great. Next person, oh, they're great, and so forth. So just that y'all did a good job and a lot of merit. So thank you.
Councilwoman Hurtak.
Additionally, the Variance Review Board, always looking for members. That's also a great place. So please continue to apply for boards and commissions because you all have such heart and such interest. There is a space for you. We always have space. So please, please apply to other boards and commissions. And we look forward to seeing you in another role.
Do we need more? Okay.
Have Mr. Shelby come back with, a resolution? Sorry.
Is it?
Well, at this point, I guess it really would
It's just to accept the.
No, it's a point.
To ratify it?
No, well, I want to make sure, let me just have it the way it was stated. I'll prepare the resolution.
Okay, we have a
And
motion from Councilman Maniscalco to prepare a resolution naming Matthew Sink to the Planning Commission. Second from Councilwoman Hurtak.
4-year term.
4-year term. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? The ayes have it. Thank you.
You want to break now for the one?
Yes, as stated, council is going to break now. We're only a 30-minute lunch. We will be back, council, back promptly at 1:35 in our seats and ready to go through the consent agenda. Thank you. We are adjourned.